My name is Mabel. Blandon and I am 31 years old. I work in corporate compliance for a mid-size insurance company, not glamorous, not flashy. Stable, predictable. I've lived in the same one-bedroom apartment for 3 years. I pay my bills on time. I show up early. I plan ahead. I don't chase chaos. Saxon. Cole, my now ex-boyfriend, is 27. Marketing manager at a tech startup. Very social, very aware of image, very conscious of who's watching and what they're thinking. When we first met, he told me I felt safe, said I was different from the chaotic woman he used to date. I took it as a compliment. Over time, that compliment began to feel like something else, less admiration, more evaluation. About 4 months ago, he started mentioning a new coworker. Her name was Sabrina Hale, creative director, sharp dresser, drives a leased BMW, apparently has strong opinions about ambition and risk. At first, it was harmless office chatter. Sabrina, close this deal. Sabrina pitched that campaign. Sabrina thinks safe people never level up. Then the tone shifted. He started comparing, but indirectly. Sabrina believes in taking risks. Sabrina says playing it safe keeps you average. Sabrina works until midnight because she's hungry. One night at dinner, he said, some women just have that edge, that ambition. It's attractive. I asked calmly, are you talking about someone specific? He smiled in that tight, clever way he does when he thinks he's winning something. If the shoe fits. That was the first time I felt it. Not jealousy, not insecurity, a warning. 3 weeks ago, he came home from a team happy hour. Energized, almost glowing. No argument. No build-up. He just looked at me and said maybe we should break up. Just like that, like suggesting we switch restaurants. I asked why. He shrugged. Maybe we're on different levels. Maybe I need someone who pushes me more. I think I've outgrown this meaning me. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I didn't ask him to reconsider. I just looked at him and said, fine, let's do it the right way. He blinked. That wasn't the response he expected. He expected resistance, a debate, tears, something he could interpret as insecurity. Instead, I asked practical questions. Are you sure? He said, yes. Is this about someone else? He hesitated for half a second, then said, not exactly. That told me everything. If we're breaking up, I said calmly, we do it clean, no blurred lines, no late-night check-ins, no orbiting each other on social media. He laughed. You're being dramatic. No. I replied, I'm being thorough. I told him if he believed he'd outgrown me, then I wasn't going to stand in the doorway, but we were not doing the half-in, half-out thing. We were not texting good morning after breaking up. We were not soft launching new people while keeping emotional backups. He rolled his eyes and suggested we could stay friends, that mature people do. That, I asked directly, are you planning on dating Sabrina? He crossed his arms. Even if I was, that wouldn't be your business. Fair enough. I stood up, grabbed my jacket and said, then let's break up like adults. Tonight. His expression shifted. Slightly cautious now. What do you mean? I mean, I'm blocking your number. Removing you from social media. Not out of anger, out of clarity. If you want to explore your upgrade, you can do it without me as emotional insurance. You don't have to be so intense. I'm not intense, I said evenly. I'm decisive. He tried one last pivot. Maybe we just need space, maybe a break. I shook my head. Break is what people do when they want to test drive someone else but keep their parking spot. Silence. Fine. He Said break up, so I took out my phone. In front of him, blocked his number. Blocked his Instagram, blocked TikTok. Removed him from our shared playlist. He watched carefully, waiting for my hands to shake. They didn't. I hope you find what you're looking for, I said, and I walked out. That was the last time I saw him in person, or so I thought. The first week after the breakup was quiet. Suspiciously quiet. No late-night calls. No emotional paragraphs from unknown numbers. No dramatic social media subtweets because I had already removed myself from his audience. That silence told me two things. One, he did not expect me to actually follow through. Two, he was busy. 3 days later, our mutual friend Jason texted me, "Are you two done for real?" I told him yes. He replied with a single word, "Wow." Apparently, Saxon showed up to work that Monday glowing, new outfits, extra effort, posting stories about new chapters and leveling up. The subtext was obvious. By Friday, Jason sent me something I didn't ask for, but appreciated. A screenshot from Saxon's public Instagram story. It was him and Sabrina at a rooftop bar. The caption read, "Energy matters." Her hand was lightly resting on his arm. Not intimate, not accidental either. I felt nothing, not jealousy, not anger, just confirmation. This wasn't incompatibility. It was a lateral move he wanted to make without feeling like the bad guy. 10 days after the breakup, I got a notification on LinkedIn. Saxon Cole viewed your profile. Not a connection request, not a message, just a view. I ignored it. A few days later, a random Instagram account with no post tried to follow me. 2 followers, no profile picture, blocked. I didn't reach out. I didn't ask questions. I meant what I said. Clean break. From what I gathered indirectly, he and Sabrina were suddenly inseparable. Office lunches, group outings, subtle comments about ambition and chemistry. He was performing the upgrade narrative. The difference was I wasn't competing for the role. Then came my birthday. It was a Tuesday, Loki. I took the day off. Went to the gym in the morning, grabbed lunch with Jason, came home, ordered takeout, watched a game. I didn't post about it. I didn't turn it into a moment. Around 7:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Happy birthday. I hope you had a good day. No name, no emoji. I stared at it for 5 seconds. I knew exactly who it was. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another message. I didn't mean for things to end like that. Still no name. I blocked the number. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. The next morning, Jason called me before work. He sounded half amused, half confused. "Did you hear from Saxon?" he asked. I told him yes. Random number, birthday text, blocked it. There was a pause. Then he said, "Well, that's awkward." Apparently, Saxon had told people at work that he and Sabrina were seeing where things go, but keeping it mature and private. He framed our breakup as mutual growth. No drama, no overlap. Here's where it got interesting. Sabrina had posted a story. Tuesday night, a cake with candles. No caption, just the cake. People assumed it was for Saxon. It wasn't. It was my favorite flavor, red velvet. Jason told me that Wednesday morning at the office. Saxon joked about clingy exes who can't let go, which meant he had told Sabrina. I responded emotionally, that I reached out, that I couldn't move on. I hadn't. I told Jason. I blocked the number within minutes. He laughed softly. That's not the story he told. That's when I realized the birthday text wasn't nostalgia. It was narrative control. He needed proof that I still wanted him. Silence complicated that. Later that afternoon, I got an email from him. Subject line, "Can we just be adults?" About this, the tone was familiar. Reasonable on the surface, subtly. Accusatory underneath. He wrote that he heard I blocked his birthday text. Immediately, that it was unnecessary. That mature people should be able to wish each other well, he said. Sabrina heard about it and now things felt awkward at work because it looked like he still cared more than he claimed. Looked like, so this wasn't about reconciliation. It was about optics. He continued. He said he told Sabrina I responded warmly but needed space. That he did it to protect my pride so she wouldn't think I was bitter. Protect my pride by lying. He asked if I could just confirm to mutual friends that we were on good terms, that there was no weirdness, that he didn't want tension. At social events, if I responded emotionally, he would screenshot it. If I ignored him completely, he would keep shaping the story. So I replied once. Calm, short, "We are not on bad terms. We are simply not in contact." I did not respond to your birthday text. I blocked the number. "I wish you well." That was it. No sarcasm, no anger, just facts. I hit send and archive the thread. 2 hours later, Jason texted again. Saxon was upset at work. Apparently one of Sabrina's friends had asked me at lunch if I was still hung up. I said no. I mentioned casually that I blocked a random birthday text. Not dramatic, just honest. Truth travels fast when it disrupts a narrative. By the end of the week, the upgrade storyline was cracking. Sabrina didn't love the idea that he reached out first. She liked the image of being chosen, not the possibility of being compared. And Saxon, he didn't expect silence to be louder than jealousy. The following Monday, I received another email from Saxon. This one was shorter, sharper, less polished. He wrote that I was being petty, that mentioning I blocked his birthday text made him look desperate, that I could have just said we ended things amicably. I read it twice. I hadn't called him desperate. I hadn't volunteered anything. I had answered a direct question with a direct answer. There's a difference, he added. That Sabrina was now questioning his intentions, and that I needed to stop acting like a wounded ex, that my silence was passive-aggressive. That almost made me laugh. Silence isn't aggression, it's absence. I replied once more because I preferred documentation over emotion. I did not volunteer information. I answered honestly. Asked if your current relationship depends on what I say. That is not my responsibility. No insults, no undertones. Send. That evening, Jason called again. Apparently, Sabrina had confronted Saxon about the birthday text. She didn't like that he initiated contact. She liked even less that he told her I responded warmly. He tried to frame it as closure, said he just wanted to make sure there was no bad blood. She asked him something simple. If you've outgrown her, why are you still checking on her? That question apparently lingered. By midweek, Saxon started asking around whether I was talking about him. I wasn't. I hadn't posted a single thing about the breakup. No quotes, no subtle captions, no thirst traps, just normal life, work, gym, coffee. The irony was almost theatrical. He broke up with me. He pursued Sabrina. He reached out on my birthday. He lied about my response, and now he was unsettled because I wasn't reacting. The real shift came when I got a LinkedIn message request, not from Saxon, from Sabrina. It wasn't hostile, it wasn't dramatic, it was brief. Hi, Lilia. I think there may have been some crosswires. I just wanted to clarify something directly. I stared at the screen for a few seconds. I had zero interest in triangle drama, but I also had no interest in being used as a silent prop, so I responded. Professionally, she asked if I had been reaching out to Saxon after the breakup. I said no. I blocked him the night we ended things. He reached out once on my birthday from an unknown number. I blocked that too. That's all. She thanked me. That was the entire exchange. Two adults clarifying facts. No trash talk, no commentary about his character. The next day, Jason reported that the energy at Saxon's office had shifted. Less rooftop bar photos, less public flirtation, less grand talk about ambition and chemistry. Not dramatic, just cooling. Apparently Sabrina didn't love discovering that she was walking into something that still required narrative management. She didn't want to compete with a ghost, especially one who wasn't even speaking. Saxon sent one final email that week. The tone was different, less defensive, more probing. Are you really just okay with how this ended? That question again. I didn't respond because the answer was yes. Not because I didn't care, but because I accepted what he said. He told me he outgrew this. I believed him. What fascinated me was the psychology of it. If I had begged, he would have used it as proof he leveled up. If I had insulted him, he would have used it as proof he escaped toxicity. Instead, I gave him nothing. No validation, no opposition, no emotional performance. And that vacuum unsettled him more than jealousy ever could. By Friday, Jason called, sounding like he was holding back laughter. He's spiraling, he said. Apparently, Sabrina had officially cooled things off. Not dramatic, just distance. She told him she didn't want to step into unresolved energy, that she didn't want to feel like a rebound or a test drive. He tried to argue that there was nothing unresolved. She apparently replied, then why are you still talking about her? That landed harder than anything I could have said, but it didn't end there. That weekend was a mutual friend's birthday party. I debated not going, not because I was avoiding him. I just didn't care to participate in tension. Jason convinced me to show up. If you don't go, he said, it looks like you're hiding. So I went. When I walked in, Saxon was already there. He saw me immediately. For a split second, his face flashed something raw, surprise, calculation. Then composure. Within 5 minutes, he walked over, calm, controlled. Can we talk? We stepped out onto the balcony. The city lights were low and steady. Beneath us, he looked different, not physically, just deflated. He told me Sabrina had ended whatever they were exploring, said she felt like she was stepping into something unresolved, said she didn't want to compete with someone who wasn't even present. Then he asked again, are you really just fine? I answered honestly, yes. Not because I didn't care, but because I accepted what you said. You told me you outgrew this. I believed you. He shook his head slowly. I didn't think you'd take it that literally. There it was. He admitted he thought the breakup would wake me up, that I'd suddenly become more intense, more ambitious, more like the version he imagined I could be. He thought I would fight. I told him something simple. If someone has to threaten to leave to feel chosen, they're not looking for a partner. They're looking for leverage. He went quiet. Then he asked if there was any chance. For the first time, I didn't feel intrigue. I felt clarity. No, not angry, not dramatic, just no. He stared at me for a few seconds. I really thought you'd fight. I shrugged. Slightly, I did. I just fought for my peace instead. We stood there in silence. For a moment, not tense, not emotional. Just still, he went back inside. I stayed on the balcony a little longer. Sometimes the loudest reality check isn't confrontation, it's absence. I stayed on that balcony longer than necessary, not because I was shaken, not because I was nostalgic. I was recalibrating. There was something disorienting about watching someone finally understand that their leverage never existed. When I went back inside, the music was louder, people were laughing, the party had continued. Without noticing the quiet shift that had just happened outside, Saxon was across the room, already back in conversation, but his posture was different, less performative, less certain. I didn't approach him again. I didn't need to. The conversation we had was complete. Later that week, Jason told me that Saxon had tried to salvage things with Sabrina one more time. He framed it as miscommunication, said he had only reached out on my birthday to close a chapter properly. Sabrina apparently responded with a single question, then why did you lie about her? Response, there is no elegant answer to that. Within days, whatever had been building between them dissolved quietly. No dramatic social media wipe, no vague captions, just distance. The rooftop bar energy disappeared. The leveling up post slowed down. A week later, I got one final message from Saxon, not an email. This time, a direct message through LinkedIn, professional tone. I respect how you handled everything. I hope you're doing well. There was no request, no subtle hook, just that. I didn't respond, not out of spite, out of consistency. People often think no contact is about punishment. It isn't. It's about alignment. If I say I'm closing a door, I don't stand in the hallway checking if someone's knocking. Over the next month, the story settled into something quieter. Mutual friends stopped asking questions. The speculation faded. Saxon's name stopped surfacing in casual updates. Life moved on, but the part that stayed with me wasn't the breakup. It wasn't Sabrina. It wasn't even the birthday text. It was the assumption underneath it all. He expected negotiation. He expected emotional turbulence. He expected that I would need to win him back or prove something. What he didn't expect was that I would accept his words at face value. There's a certain kind of ego that relies on reaction, on resistance, on emotional chase. When that reaction doesn't come, it feels like loss of control. One evening, about 6 weeks after the party, I ran into him at a coffee shop near my office. It wasn't dramatic. No cinematic slow motion. We both reached for the door at the same time. He smiled politely. I returned it. How have you been? He asked. Good, I said, and I meant it. There was no hidden weight in the word, no layered meaning, just good. He nodded slowly, like he was still trying to measure the authenticity of it. Then he said, you really didn't need me to react, did you? I considered the question for a second. No, I needed clarity. You gave me that. That seemed to land deeper than anything else I'd said. We parted without tension, without unfinished energy, without curiosity about what could have been. Later that night, I thought about something he said on that balcony, that he thought the breakup would wake me up, that it would push me to become more intense. It made me realize something important. People who test your loyalty by threatening absence aren't looking for growth. They're looking for reassurance that they still matter more than your peace, and peace is expensive. You earn it by not negotiating your standards. The Relationship ended the moment he decided. Comparison was a strategy. It ended the moment he implied ambition only looks a certain way. It ended when he mistook steadiness for stagnation. I didn't lose him. He tested a door he assumed would always stay open. It didn't, and that was the only reality check that mattered.